And that was a shoot.
Yeah, that's full-blown shoot.
Since you want to shoot, cowboy!
And now, the Real Shoot Wrestling Podcast.
What's up, everyone? We are back with another episode 29 of the Real Shoot Wrestling Podcast. And today we're covering a bunch of different topics and running down the cards for the upcoming pay-per-views this weekend of NXT and Survivor Series. So this one will definitely be a little bit more interesting because not only is it Neo, BJ, and the Professor, but we have one for the first time on the podcast anyways, the third to our IWS, the hater of headlocks, Al Gowers.
Yes, that is me.
I was going to say, you're not on video like normal, so just,
I just want to wait for like an awkward pause before I said anything.
Oh, okay. You wanted to give that second of like dead air so that everyone was uncomfortable for a minute. Like
That's what I was going for. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
It's what I do. I make things awkward.
Well, you always do.
So, first and foremost, for those that maybe listen to the podcast and don't watch Real Shoot Weekends,
Losers.
shame.
What's wrong with you?
Shame on you.
A pox upon your house.
Why don't we explain the hater of headlocks? Why don't you go ahead and explain how you got the name hater of headlocks?
Am I telling the truth or am I lying?
The world may never know.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, I'll tell the truth.
Not good at kayfabe.
No. Well, no. I just don't like them. They suck. And I told a wrestler that once, and he was not amused. Not at all.
I think he threatened to make you tap out.
Yes, and he probably could have too. And I was just being a dick that day. More so than usual. We just went back and forth, and they've never let me live it down. Although thankfully I have met said wrestler, and he has completely forgotten about it, so I remain untapped.
At least you think.
Yeah.
Did you guys remind him?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
He just may not be doing anything because you're with us.
Yeah, or he may just be waiting for that absolute moment that you think he's forgotten.
Yeah, you never know.
I hate you guys.
You know that old saying, anything can happen in the WWE?
Yeah.
Anything can happen in RSW.
Yeah.
I'll risk it.
I made my on-screen
Your
character debut,
your corporate douche
and I
debut.
didn't even know I was going to until like an hour beforehand. So anything can happen. I went from being the GM of RSW that wanted people to hate me to being the AIWF representative of RSW who people now legitimately are giving me shit about.
Yeah.
So it's like
You're a douche.
the boyhood dream has come true. But
You were legitimately the heel.
yeah,
Well, that was a pretty douchebag maneuver by you.
It really was.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
well, while we're talking about that, we'll let the professor here explain a little bit of the events from last RSW show, and we'll explain to everybody what exactly happened as to why I'm being called a douche now, and
Just
a
'cause you
corporate
are a douche.
and
Well, you did it.
professional douche,
Yeah, you
and-
didn't admit that you're a professional douche. I figure that's your business card. It just says BJ Mel, professional douche.
I like it.
Probably. But anyways, yeah.
Educate people, Professor.
But on the RSW Veterans Day, I don't know what we're actually calling this one, but Veterans Day Combat Palooza or whatever.
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry, that was a loud
they
clap.
need to call it that if they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Let's go
genius.
back.
So it'll be the second annual one next year.
Yes.
But anyway, we opened the card with the grudge match from the previous show between Carter Lasique and TL Andrews, with Lasique kind of holding an advantage for most of the match, and then had some poor officiating from Lynn Frederick watching Carter Lasique wedge a chair in the turnbuckles and not stopping it. But then it kind of paid off for Andrews when Lasique got his head rammed into it, and Andrews got the pinfall because of it.
More bad officiating.
Yes. But he is a rookie official.
He is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the comment made, "Hey ref, this is a good match. You should watch it"?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I believe it may have been by another real shooter.
Yeah, that was gonna super kick my face off.
Yes.
And didn't.
And didn't. You
Well,
know what that
he's-
means? No $5, no admin privilege. And
Well-
the admin thing wasn't even a real stipulation. You made that up.
He made that up. Not me. I just offered him $5. He's getting paid better than I am. But
Hey man, we work for hot dogs and handshakes.
yeah, but he said he was didn't want to emasculate you in front of your girlfriend. Is why he didn't do it.
Yeah, that wouldn't have mattered.
I think she knows him well enough to know that he's not particularly masculine anyway.
He's not quite as metrosexual as Corey Mason though.
I am definitely not that.
He's working up to it.
But we'll get to more on Corey Mason later.
Yeah, continue, sorry.
But yeah, so Andrews kind of got the win in that match, and then in our next match we had a triple threat of adorable Danny Ray trying to get revenge on Rock and Roll Tommy Gibson with his insurance policy of JV Insanity. But the insurance policy really didn't pay off. I guess he should have went with Jake from State Farm, because Tommy still divided and conquered and got the win there.
Danny's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that guy. I want to boo him because I'm supposed to, but I can't.
Oh,
He's too funny.
It's great.
Yeah, I
Speaking of Danny Ray, sorry to interrupt.
He's interrupting you because he's a douche.
Watch out for him on a future podcast.
Yeah.
We've got him slated to be with us here sometime soon.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be wild, because like you saw like his persona, like well, talking with him outside of that realm, still razzing and giving you shit, like. So I'm sure it's gonna be.
Well, I mean, you get shit from him. You get shit from Throwbilly.
I do. And through Billy's wife.
Yeah.
You're so loved.
Or I'm just that guy to give shit to. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out as it comes, I guess.
Bit of both.
But
Well, you're like the personable one, and everybody else leaves us alone.
Yeah, it's true.
well, I mean, we could change that. You guys could be the personable ones. I have no qualms with that.
We would have to be personal.
No, Alan's that friend that you have to warn your other friends about whenever they meet him.
I would like to defend myself, but that's entirely true. Like there's been times I don't know why Rob's still friends with me afterwards.
I remember one of the first. I think it was one of the first times that like we ever really hung out, and we were doing a weekends episode. You brought up the Dusty Roads joke.
Yeah, you were gonna drag Dusty
And
Rhodes' corpse
I
or
was
something
like, what
with a
the
pickup
hell?
truck.
Like, it was, oh yeah, like it was.
It was the same time that Bobby Fish's mom died, and you're trying to like justify him leaving. Like everyone's got a mom. Like, well, he did.
Yeah,
Your
that's
eyes
right.
got this big.
Oh man, yeah, I remember that now.
I make such good
But
first impressions.
I think we're completely off topic
Oh,
again.
we are. We keep retconning and flashbacking. It's like some weird episode of Rick and
Yeah, I
Morty
think
here.
we've just like ripped open the dimension to BJ time again.
Hey, it's a real place.
But anyway, in the third match we had the rematch of Duke Beefhammer versus the Metrosexual.
It wasn't a
Mayhem.
rematch. It wasn't a rematch because.
How was it not a rematch?
Because wasn't he was somebody else at last show. This time he was from the year 2008. It was a previous version of Beefy.
What?
What? Just
Did you not hear where he was billed from?
yes, but still.
Yeah, I didn't connect
Again,
the dots.
BJ time, it was a previous version of the person. So really,
So-
this was his first time facing
So is it-
Mason, and what we saw the first time was his second time facing Mason.
Oh, he Star Wars did. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying it's like the WWE games when you have the two different versions of the character or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly what it was.
But anyway, we saw some metrosexual mayhem with Corey Mason going over in that match. And maybe actually the first time I've ever seen him win a match.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen him win one before either.
Well, hey, it's gotta be first time for everything, right?
Yeah. I think it was just
Famous last words.
some great managing from his life coach, Chris Soba, that led him to that victory.
Oh yeah. So, do you think that not the next show, but the next one that these two are on, we're gonna see possibly
I think
a rubber match?
I think there has to be a rubber match.
Has to be, yeah.
And I think Danny Ray has to have another insurance policy, or they have to insert Throwbelly Ox into this mix.
Man, if they listen, for the powers that be, if you're listening to this, Danny, Tommy, Throwbilly, triple threat.
I think we've already called for this more than once.
We have, but
Listen to what the people
you
want.
gotta keep putting it back out there into the ether, man. You gotta make them hear. This is what we want. So let's make it happen.
And so your real shooters out there that are listening, if you want that to happen, let them know too.
That's right.
He buckles under peer pressure easily. Go for it.
Who?
I'm just messing with Tim.
Oh.
How do you know that Tim has the powers to be? Because he was dancing like Adam West Batman at the one show.
Because he was what?
Dancing like Adam West Batman. At the first,
I don't remember.
at the
seeing
first
that.
one at the community building that's attached to a church.
I don't remember that.
It happened. I saw it with my own two eyes.
Is that the
in
one
my
where
vis-
I touched his car with my wiener?
No, it was the reanimated one, the one in October.
Okay.
But remember me? I asked you, like, what's Tim doing over there? And he's like, I think he really likes that song.
By the way, I love how I just said that. We just went on like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone that's going to hear this, it's like, what? And it's just like we just don't even talk about it.
Well, we don't really have to talk about it. I mean, they don't need to know everywhere your wiener's been.
That's completely intentional. Yeah, I want them to get that mental image. I like it.
Good.
But
Me too.
Incidentally, dick joke, and it wasn't me.
yeah, but
That's true.
yeah, we had that calling for another triple threat,
And then,
or maybe we can tag team it, and Danny Ray can have his insurance policy, and then Tommy and Throwbilly can team up.
that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Not for me. They're gonna give me shit. But
Well, I mean,
I won't
after
be
your
root for it if we're on separate teams.
after your corporate stooge antics.
Yeah, now that he is a character, he's established in the universe. I
Yeah.
think he needs to be special guest referee.
only if it's in a match where Lynn goes down. Because I want to watch that happen. Then I'll do
I'm okay with that.
that. I had a feeling you would be.
Just because everyone loves to pick on him, he'd be right there in the ring, so they could really mess with him.
Yeah, but after his antics, there may be things flying in the ring like D-cell batteries and cans of pork and beans and stuff.
That's only from Rob.
Nice. Continue on with the card.
But then in the next match, we had MK Ultra, the team of Christian Cobain and Johnny Magnum picking up their first win over Smokey C and Benny Conley in what was a really good tag match.
It was really good.
I was going to say, I heard that was probably match of the night.
It was right up there. But I don't know, like I've said before, the tag team division in RSPW has really been one of the unsung high spots of the company thus far. So,
I agree.
mean, a lot better than a lot of the tag work that you see around here. Because a lot of it around here is either just incredibly basic or just everybody gets their shit in.
Yeah. I wasn't present for a lot of that because I was called to be somewhere else. But from what I saw of it, it was really good. I kind of had an aerial view at one point. It was nice.
It was really good.
Yeah, really got the crowd into it.
And then
And then in the main event, we had TJ for at least that time being retaining his titles over Zayden Kane, and what had started off or was already scheduled, but it escalated in a war of worlds earlier in the day.
got yourself
And
a little tongue-tied there.
yeah, no hobbling English. But yeah, it was a pretty good match with most of the crowd behind TJ.
To put it mildly, yeah.
Even to the point on the ride home that Alan's son said that there was nobody in an RSPW that he'd root for other than TJ, basically.
That's true. He is now a fan, certified.
Nice. That's awesome.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh, okay.
So then we had the arrival of some corporate stooge from the AIWF, representative, and he proceeded to strip Mr. Phillips of his well and hard-earned titles that he's been defending around the circuit for a long time.
He's earned and defended with blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes.
And you just took them like they were nothing.
And,
Hey,
and,
listen,
and he
what is wrong
retired
with you?
there.
Listen, I had a decision to make. All right, I was called to do this.
Well, we know how many bad decisions you made in life.
Hey, this was
true.
best for business because now what does that set up?
Well, it sets up the original Holiday Grand Prix for December 16th in Fairmont, West Virginia.
That's right. We've got some excellent names in that tournament, including TJ.
Yes.
This is what his defending of these titles has led him to.
And I think we actually need to talk about who's in this tournament
Yeah,
so
I
that
agree with you.
people can
100%.
get out there and research them and whatnot.
But first, on behalf of all of TJ's fans, I feel a little better now. I hope all of you do too. I so wanted TJ to hit him with a witch hammer, but he didn't.
You dick.
Oh, I would have enjoyed that. And then, like, you could get super kicked as you tried to get up, because you have one of those coming too.
Okay.
But maybe next time. Write in, people. If enough people support this, it could possibly happen. I want this to happen. We all need him to get beat up. We will film it. We will put it up somewhere. You can watch it over and over again. It's like porn, only with BJ.
Well,
there
what
is
kind of porn are you
BJ.
watching?
There's actually a specific category for BJs. We're going to be honest.
You would know. You already. Never mind.
Anyways,
That went to a whole different place.
everyone loves a BJ, man.
Anyway, for non-BJ affiliated Holiday Grand Prix, we need to talk about who's going to be participating in this
Yes, I
tournament. But we've got first up Stella Mash from Detroit. I haven't really seen a lot of his stuff, but he looks to be in really good shape and should be a worthy competitor for the tournament. And then we've got Johnny Blast, which if you've watched indie shows in this area, I'm sure you've seen him. I think I saw him on like my first indie show like 17 years ago. So a real wily veteran that could pull out the win here. And then next up, We've got the Incredible Hulk, Will Huckabee, and really good athlete. If you haven't checked him out, do so. We've got the White Trash Messiah, Ron Mathis, who we've seen in Real Shoot before. He's been all over the place. Really good competitor. Have a chance to win the tournament. Then got Mr. DDT Bruce Gray, who we just recently saw have a really good match with TJ, and pretty much took him to the limit. And then we've got Xerxes, who we've seen take on TJ before, and
Great match.
I believe it's one of TJ's favorite opponents.
Yeah.
Even at the show when he showed up on the screen to, with the announcement of the tournament, he got a smirk there, knowing that a potential match with him could happen again.
Yeah. And then to round out your last two, we got former ROH Top Prospect Tournament participant and current Evolve star, the Gift Jason Kincaid. And if you don't know Jason Kincaid, get out there and look him up.
Yeah,
The Gift.
he's really good.
And then rounding out the field, the flag bearer for Real Shoot Pro Wrestling, TJ Phillips. And I don't think we really need to tell you much more about him if you've been into
If you
wrestling.
want to know anything about TJ Phillips, then the best advice, other than going out to a show, of course, is to listen to the last episode of the Real Shoot Wrestling Podcast, where we did an interview with TJ. It was literally the whole episode, so check it out.
That and BJ making cocktails.
Yes. But, hey.
So definitely come out on December 16th and check out the Holiday Grand Prix to crown the first ever West Virginia Grand Champion.
There's some really good talent in there. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, we're about 20 minutes in so far, and we have done all of our spiel for the show. We've covered what we needed to. We've told you about the backstory. If this hasn't hooked you in yet, the only thing that will is seeing it with your own two eyes. I promise you, it is a great time. You should definitely check it out. With all that being said,
Go pay your $7 or $5 if you bring a toy for the toy draw.
there you go. It's an awesome time. It's December 16th. I mean, it's over a week before Christmas.
Yeah, treat yourself to an early Christmas
That's right.
present.
That's right. Have a nice little evening now. Especially, while you have time. Because the holidays, you're super busy. Especially during the week of Christmas. So,
Yeah, I mean, we had one of our page members, Bob Roberts, really compliment the last show because it was the first one that he'd gone to.
yeah. But as I said, with all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next subject here.
They can't see me dancing. It's all right.
They can't. But, so on our social media accounts, we had posted threads or tweets for you to respond to, or an Instagram post for you to comment under, to give us topics to talk about for this week's episode, as we weren't streamlining a whole bunch of stuff. We will be covering NXT and Survivor Series here in just a bit, but kind of wanted to talk about some of these other things, just because some of them help build for the Survivor Series conversation, and other ones are just, interesting little tidbits of information, and
Just some rando stuff.
Unless they're lumped together, there's no real place to segment them into after you've already talked about Survivor Series. So, so the first thing that we will talk about, since it is unrelated to them, which was the big news and that we didn't talk about last episode because of the interview, which was rightfully so. What we can cover now is the Chris Jericho announcement. and what it means in general, let alone specifically to New Japan. For those of you who have been hiding under a rock or haven't watched wrestling in a while, which I don't know why you're just now catching the podcast on this particular episode if you've not watched wrestling for a while. But Chris Jericho was revealed to be the next competitor for Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12 at the Dome. And this is Jericho's first wrestling appearance outside of the WWE since 1999. I know for a fact that this conversation will probably be brought up again. We'll probably have disagreements between the two of you and myself. However, I want to get your opinions on what this means in general and what you foresee will happen because of this.
You just want an excuse to spout your bullshit conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory, but go ahead. Just go on. I want to hear it. I want this to be an even-sided debate.
I think I need to go out to my car and get a shovel before we talk about this.
Triple H?
No, I just need to have something to scoop all your bullshit with.
Oh, okay. It's not bullshit. You'll see. But anyways,
bullshit.
Let's go.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with the WWE. I think they're irrelevant in this conversation. But what interests me is Kenny Omega's growing role in creative in New Japan. This kind of factors into where he's planning on signing. The rumor is, none of this is confirmed, but he's going to sign a new deal where he gets a lot more control over his character. And what he really wants to do, he said numerous times, is face the best that's not in New Japan. He wants to spread it out, make the U.S. Championship really mean a lot. And by getting Jericho, getting this, he is going on second. You know, he's the co-main event for the biggest show in New Japan. And let's be honest, it's a nothing title they just made up. He's going on after the IC belt. That's a huge feather in his cap. I think he is the future of this company, and I think they're recognizing that. I don't think it means he's going to WWE. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I don't think Jericho is trying to woo him over. It's just a good match. Jericho wanted to do it for fun, and he's doing it because he's a free agent. But I'll let Rob, who incidentally does not like Kenny Omega and is therefore wrong. I mean,
So
damn.
what does my opinion of Kenny Omega have anything to do with my opinion of what's actually going on in this match?
It says a lot about your judgment and character, or lack thereof, because how do you not like Kenny Omega? It's unreal
He's the
to
best
me.
wrestler in the world.
I mean, at worst, he's number 2.
So basically, you've once said that you wouldn't have minded me like taking care of your kid if something happened and your family wasn't able to do it, but yet you're judging my character on not liking Kenny Omega.
Yeah, that changed it all, man. Like, I trusted you, you're like a brother to me.
And then
You
you're
know,
like,
I take a bullet for you, then you're like, oh, I don't like Kenny Omega, he sucks. I'm like,
then you turned the gun.
yeah. It's like, I'm no longer Secret Service, I'm just turning sideways, like, I don't know this dude. Yeah, it hurt me deep inside. You broke my heart.
Well, I think you can sum up what's going on here in 4 words. Chris Jericho World Tour.
I can agree with that. I'm
You
okay with that.
think Jericho's on his way out?
I think, he's not more than a part-timer at this point in like WWE or wherever pretty much. And at his age, plus you factor in that he's got the Chris Jericho Wrestling Rager, whatever
Rager.
cruise going on with ROH involved in it, because apparently WWE doesn't want to play ball with him on that, because he actually apparently asked him about using NXT on said thing, and they basically
Upgrade.
they basically gave him a Jim Cornette on it.
Yeah.
So
That's their loss.
yeah,
I'd much rather be the ROH guys.
Yeah.
but I don't think he actually has a. I don't think he's actually under contract with WWE, because with WWE being a publicly traded company, that information's not necessarily, I don't want to say readily available, but more available than it would be for some other companies. And I think, Chris in his books and stuff kind of spoke with respect of his time training in the dojos in Japan and working over there and whatnot, and his time in Mexico and places like that too. He was like really one of those last territory guys that went everywhere and learned everything, kind of unlike your like WWE developmental stuff where they teach everybody to work the same way in a way. And I think he probably wants to give the fans in Japan, and we'll see like maybe Mexico and other places later, maybe like that one last match or whatever to say thank you. So I think it's kind of a Chris Jericho world tour and not any kind of conspiracy theory or anything like that. And since it still can help New Japan kind of as a money match, it's kind of that too. So I think it's all those things factored in together and not some sort of bullshit conspiracy theory.
I know you all keep peppering that in, but all right. So here.
I mean, it was reported when his contract ended. He signed an extension last year.
Yes,
He did
but,
one month.
okay.
He's not signed
Here's,
anymore.
all right. Here's for those of you listening. Here's the conspiracy theory. Here are some of my thoughts on it. I've been rethinking about a lot of it, but okay. So in a Being the Elite episode, when they're burning the Too Sweet stuff, they hold up a sign, and that sign is for Final Battle 2018. We haven't even hit 2017 yet. Unsure of why they're advertising next year's already, but they had stated on a podcast back over the summer that they only had a year and a half left on their contract, which would put them at around the time of Final Battle 2018 when their contract expires. Conspiracy theory there is that the Bucks are leaving to finally go to WWE. On that same thought, they weren't going to go without Kenny and vice versa. Well, if Kenny ends his career in New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom 13, right? It's 12?
Yeah, I think so.
This upcoming one's 12?
You don't remember?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 12.
It's around there.
Anyways, at 13, that's only a few weeks after the Bucks do. So the Bucks could have their last match in Japan the same night Kenny does, and the Elite leaves New Japan. And then at the end of the month, as when AJ Styles did it when he left, they show up at the Royal Rumble. Because I don't think that they're going to actually put any of those three in NXT. I think they will debut at the Rumble, they will start on the main roster, and we will have something to do with the Elite in WWE in 2019. That is the thought process. Now, to go along with the added conspiracy theory when you add in Chris Jericho to the mix. This is Jericho's first time wrestling outside of the WWE since '99, and then you found out a few days later he's still under a WWE contract.
We didn't find that out.
It's being reported. It's been reported.
It was reported.
It's been both reported at the same time.
But by an unconfirmed source. It was an anonymous WWE official, which means nothing.
Okay. Well, at the same time, all right. Let's just talk some truth here. Anything that's ever happened regarding talent working outside of the WWE that's had something to do with the WWE, there's always the underlying thought of are they sabotaging something else, or are they trying to pull talent from somewhere else? They even had it back during the Monday Night Wars when people were defected. Now, admittedly, when they started with, Hall, Nash, Hogan, and all those, so Hogan was different, but Hall, Nash, and them, they were just getting huge contracts. They couldn't be beat. But at the same time, you never know who was coming through and was going to be a WWE stooge, so to speak, to get them to come over. I'm not saying that's what Jericho's doing. Jericho's a very smart person. He has a mind for the business. And I like the idea of a Jericho World Tour, him being on his own, not doing anything that the WWE wants him to do, but his own stuff. And therefore, being fine. But there's always that suspicion. There's always going to be that thought. And I'm just saying now, not just because of conspiracy. I'm going to go ahead and call it so that a year from now, a year and 2 months from now, when it happens, I can be right here, or I can be on Real Shoot weekends, or I can be anywhere around Real Shoot and just rub it in all your guys' faces that I was right and I called this from all this time back.
You can celebrate as I'm weeping.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be in tears. That's why I'm gonna film it. So it might be on the podcast, but there, as he said with, TJ giving me the witch hammer, it will be on the page. You can rewatch it over and over. Get your good feels.
Yeah, I'll be ugly crying if Kenny goes to the WWE. They don't know how to harness his greatness.
Now, with that being said, I just, as we were talking all of this, thought of this little interesting thing that I would like to see now, if it's not to get Kenny, or even if it is to get Kenny to the WWE, just storyline-wise. I'd like to see Jericho win the belt from Kenny at Wrestle Kingdom and have a run all the way until Jericho's Cruise, where Kenny gets the return match and beats him and gets his belt back. Jericho could have some good matches with some people in New Japan during that time.
Well, there's a rumor, and I have not seen any sort of verification, but there's a rumor that he has actually signed a contract for several dates coming up. So that could happen. I mean, he could do a lot of fun stuff in New Japan. I mean, the roster they have now is just incredible.
I agree. I would, obviously, we're gonna, if he does that, we're gonna see some awesome matches. Baker's dream match of Tanahashi and Jericho.
Oh, he has to.
Yeah, right.
He has to.
Right. But I would like to see him with some younger talent too. I think him and Kushida could put on a good match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Different weight classes though. So that
Yeah.
I mean, they might meet in a tag, but
Jericho and Juice Robinson, Jericho and Zack Sabre Jr., Ibushi. There are tons of options here.
Yeah, Ibushi, that'd be amazing. I would even like to see him versus Jay White.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's just a little bit under the radar, but that would be amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I'm just excited to see it in general. So even if it is one night, it's going to be awesome. But if it stretches out, then I'll be more than satisfied. So, and then if it ultimately leads up to my theory, then fuck you both. I was right.
But what if there's something different, earth-shattering, going to happen at Final Battle 2018? And not your theory?
Well, I have another theory of what's happening around that time in Ring of Honor.
What's
the
that?
return of one Dragon.
Oh yeah.
From America?
Yeah, the American Dragon, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
If you will.
You're not a true wrestling fan unless you've done that at least once. If you will.
But yeah, so.
Can you imagine if he comes out and joins Bullet Club?
If who?
Daniel.
Oh, he
What?
won't. He won't.
He could.
Nah, I was just.
Wait, what?
I was just listening to that.
Bryan Danielson.
To the Elite on an interview last week on a podcast. And there was like so many people that they want to bring in, but they've started getting to the point that they realize they need people to actually rival them instead of just taking over stuff. So there are people that are currently working with them that they wanted in, and then they were like, but they're going to be so good as, our antagonists or whatever. And so I don't see that with Brian. I don't see him joining.
At first.
Punk, however.
Oh, yeah.
I can see Punk joining, but not.
He's been invited numerous times. But I don't see Daniel doing it at first. Or Brian Danielson. I don't know. Which name is he using?
We can go with whatever
now. I would say probably end up, when he gets there, be his given name of Brian Danielson.
All right. So I think at first, no. But eventually there's going to be a swerve and he does join. That would be my prediction. Which is less crazy than yours.
Well, anyways. So that's all for that. The next thing is we hit the 20th anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob here this past week, and so we were asked by Justin what would have happened in the WWF if the Montreal Screwjob didn't happen. Would we still have a Monday Night War? Would it have gone on this long? Would somebody would have died out? Would it have been WWF?
WCW was going to self-destruct either way. Their business practices were just too atrocious.
Yeah, but what would that have meant for professional wrestling in general had it not been? Basically, the Montreal Screwjob, like there are plenty of characters and things that could have started the attitude. I've heard everything from it was Austin's promo to Gold Dust himself as a character. To just all these moments, Mr. McMahon becoming a character. But the Montreal Screwjob is what started the character of Mr. McMahon.
Truthfully, I think wrestling in general, and the WWE especially, would be better without the Mr. McMahon character. I think he added very little.
But there were so many things that spiraled into what all the Mark's Attitude Era was perfect idea.
Yeah, it was awful. But, that's why we still have the McMahons inserting themselves in like every major storyline to this day and screwing them up. Things are better without them. And we don't because of that stupid character.
Yeah.
Although I will admit the Austin thing with him was fun. Him and Austin was a good moment. But aside from that, it's been awful. I'm going to get hate mail. It's all right. Send it over to BJ.
Well, I'm just asking in general.
I think wrestling's better today if it didn't happen, and then the Attitude Era didn't happen.
You think wrestling would be better now if those things never happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many things that wouldn't. I don't know, that I don't think would have come about.
I think wrestling would be better if WCW had never died.
Well,
we still had at least two big companies going at it. I think
that too, but
I think we're almost back to that, with maybe three all gunning for the top. Eventually, I know money-wise, you can't battle, but
we need to do a whole episode on this.
We've had that, but just okay. So would we be better off without the Montreal Screwjob?
Yeah, because it led to the Mr. McMahon character, which was one of the big catalysts for the Attitude Era, which then led to the more sports entertainment oriented segments between Austin and McMahon, which led to other sports entertainment oriented segments that have detracted from the WWE product, and it also changed the booking style because they were hot-shotting everything instead of planning it out ahead of time, or more in depth for several months at a time, and then adjusting as need be. Now it's all all knee jerk of, well, we tried to do this week, but it didn't work, and so now we're doing this, kind of like the entire Survivor Series card for this year.
Which, arguably so, has shaped up to be what I feel could be one of the best Survivor Series cards ever.
But then this is also by like kind of hot-shotting the matches and shorter match times and everything. There's arguably worse wrestling than we did have. So I think, had we not had that, the at least in-ring product probably would be better now than it is for WWE.
Yeah, we've reached the point now where the matches are secondary.
Yeah, basically.
It's a wrestling promotion that doesn't value wrestling.
Yeah, basically you got a 3 hour.
We don't have that everywhere. We're stating that.
Just
that's
the WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I am going to be on the other side, not because I just like opposing you guys, but I think
You kids.
I think wrestling would have been worse if we didn't have the Montreal Screwjob. Vince was so worried about his competition and about them taking his champion and his championship that this is the response that happened, which sent shockwaves through WWF, has led to so much controversy and so many forms of theories, revenue from those theories, books, everything. It's been a huge topic. So that's kind of a boost in itself. Not only, I know you guys don't agree with the Attitude Era, and there are definitely, I've gone back now, like last year I started going back through and watching through when the Attitude Era started happening on Raw all the way into like 2004. It's still ongoing. I take breaks, but that, yeah, the Attitude Era had plenty of things in it that were garbage. If we're gonna be honest, like people want to say it's pristine and it was so great. It wasn't. It really wasn't. There was a lot of shit during that time.
Like beaver cleavage.
Yeah. Like during that time as a kid, I was flipping back and forth. Like I actually hadn't started watching WWF until after WrestleMania 14. So like when I first started watching, the DX I knew when I first started didn't have Shawn Michaels because he was gone.
Oh wow!
It was Triple H and the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac in China. It was the invasion. That was around the time that I first started watching WWF again. I watched it back as a kid with Warrior and stuff, but I went to WCW and I was a WCW guy, and then I started bouncing back and forth. So, yeah, like around like my first pay-per-view I ever bought. I'd watched some, but the first one I ever bought in general was a WWF pay-per-view. It was Survivor Series in '98 because it was on my birthday, and I watched the Deadly Games, and that's what started winning me over when The Rock turned and became, The Rock. So yeah, like with the corporation and all that. So yeah, like I don't know if I would have been a WWF person had they kept their same way, because I was a WCW guy, and admittedly so, towards the end of WCW, I stopped watching WCW to watch WWF. I went back to WCW during their last episode because I knew something big was going to happen. That was really the only reason that I was watching.
The quality declined a lot.
Yeah. Well, they had the Millionaires Club versus the Young Bloods or something like that.
Was it New Blood?
New Blood something. It was I enjoyed having Billy Kidman and Hogan and then exchanging, because I was like, oh cool, they're giving these young guys a chance. That was really cool, but it still wasn't enough to keep me watching it. I kept going back to WWF, and so I don't know. Montreal Screwjob to me. I think it needed to happen, or else we wouldn't be where we're at today. And I don't mean just in terms of WWF. Yes, sure, having the E be the big, money-making thing that it is with all of its flaws is not great. But you wouldn't have had some of the talent that you have now because they were watching them too. You wouldn't have, and that's everywhere. That's not just WWE, that's Ring of Honor, that's New Japan, that's everywhere. You wouldn't have some of these indie talents or main WWE roster talents or NXT guys without that moment taking place.
Spoken like a corporate stooge.
But you can have that edge and have it be believable with instead of some of that attitude era stuff.
Okay, let me put it this way, as a example of what came after the Montreal Screwjob as to what is happening now. So you've heard of all the different styles and people call it flippy shit, indie style and whatever. You wouldn't have teams like the Young Bucks if it wasn't for the Attitude Era, if it wasn't for the Screwjob happening, because teams like the Hardys and Edge and Christian and even the Dudleys in some form or another, those kind of matches, those spots and stuff didn't need to happen, so they wouldn't have happened. So having people who emulate that now and can incorporate that style that's not even a high-flying like luchador-esque style, that's different. It's an Americanized, I don't know,
Semi-crash wrestling.
yeah. I mean, it's its own thing. I get it, and some people like it and some people don't. But more do than don't, or else these teams like the Hardys and Edge and Christian wouldn't be solidified the way that they were and idolized by people like the Young Bucks. So wrestling would be a lot different, and I don't know if it would all be for the better. So yeah, I don't know. I think that if it hadn't happened, I might not be into wrestling at this point. And it's not because I relied upon the Attitude Era, it's just because wrestling as a whole would be a different style. And I don't know if there would have been enough to keep me appealed.
But your style's also changed since then.
That's true. But, I mean, it's just one of those things you never know, but, yeah.
Because before then you had, the stuff was still happening for a reason. Now you got guys getting like fucking taking a pile driver off a roof into a bed of a truck just because
That's
they can.
true. I mean, yeah, you do have that as well. I won't take that away. But
For no reason other than, hey, we're doing a death match, might as well actually try to kill ourselves. But I think you can still have that edge that you got from the Attitude Era, because you kind of had that edge in like Jim Crockett Promotions and stuff like that, because you had stuff like the Four Horsemen beating the crap out of Dusty Rhodes and then dragging him behind their pickup truck and other stuff like that was actually believable, that the fans were mad about that happening. And even though they said like WWE kind of emulated ECW to have the Attitude Era, they kind of I don't know exactly what word to put, but they didn't do it in the same fashion, because you actually had like ECW and Paul Heyman be able to take guys like the Sandman, who should be like the guy you hate because he's like drinking beer and everything else, and they're the worst guy that you got in there that basically his ring works the drizzling shit.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're not gonna sell me on that.
Well, I'm getting to my point on that. But then you have like you take Raven, who incredible in his psychology and stuff, and they had him pull Sandman's ex-wife and his son over to his side in like a cult-like angle, and then you turn the Sandman into the complete baby face in that, because you see him for being like, basically the flawed drizzling shits wrestler drunk that he is. That the fans see him as a flawed guy because, they can see that in this angle that he loves his son. But like WWE would have taken that off on some incredibly crazy way that would not have worked. So I think, you can pull that edge off, but you have to do it in the right way. And I'm not sure that the Attitude Era was actually the right way, because the in-ring work a lot of times for some of those matches you mentioned, it was there, but the stuff outside of that.
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying, but
Did she like all the boobs that were in the Attitude Area?
No.
Dude, do me a favor and go home and watch Jerry Lawler versus Terry Funk in the empty arena match, and Tully Blanchard versus Magnum TA in the cage at Stargate.
I'm fine with that.
And then find that edge.
I'm just saying, I got distracted in your talking, just thinking about what the Grizzling shit Sandman was. And how?
My brother loved the Sandman. I mean, they built him up so well.
Starkey popped for him at a big time wrestling show.
What?
Yeah.
When?
I was in Fairmont 2 or 3 years ago. And he hit somebody with a trash can, and I thought Starkey was going to jump through the roof because he was sitting on the other side of the ring from me, because I remember it was him now, because it was right after I'd started really being on the page, but I didn't really know anybody but you from the page.
How far have we come since then?
Yeah.
But yeah, oh God. Man, I can't. Him and Sabu. Personally,
You don't like Sabu?
I'm gonna do it right now. So if you didn't already hate me from this past weekend's RSW show, you're gonna hate me now if you were a fan of ECW. But Sandman and Sabu are my least two favorite wrestlers almost of all time. I think that Sabu is completely terrible. Every match I've ever seen of his, I'm just he is the sloppiest, shittiest wrestler I've ever seen.
He wasn't that bad, except for all the tables he broke. He didn't need to.
Or how many chairs he slipped off of, or how many times he tried to balance on a top rope and would fall, which is at least once a match. How many spots he blew because of that. Yeah.
He had a really good series there with Taz. I mean, Taz Sabu, that's classic.
Yeah, but
You didn't enjoy those? You didn't enjoy those?
it's called a flash in the pan. Think of the long term. Other than that, nothing. Garbage. It was all for being gruesome or bloody or fucking up, because that's what he did. There was one time he was selling selling a piece of the table that he broke, that whatever, or a chair or some shit like that, and I was just I will pay that much money if I get to use it on him. That's the only way I would pay for that from Sabu. He's only getting money from me if I get to hurt him.
It was to help pay for his hip surgery that he sacrificed to entertain you, BJ.
Yeah.
But he didn't entertain me.
That's your problem.
That's your bad taste.
Yeah, well, that's not bad taste.
Oh, we can talk about your taste.
And now you've been described as knowing your shit but liking some shitty shit.
Whatever.
And besides, I want to see you go run up on a chair and then balance on something else about 25 times and see how many times you slip.
Don't do it if you can't do it 25 out of 25 times.
Well, I mean, that was kind of ECW. Was more realistic. These guys are going to fail once in a while. They're human. That's a perk. It's a feature. It's not a flaw.
Yeah. Besides, go back and watch some old NWA matches that look more realistic, because they don't look all concise like a lot of today's wrestling.
It's a stylistic approach.
We've spent enough time talking about
Only
that
because you don't
shitting
like-
on ECW.
Only because you don't like our points.
No, I'm not. I'm taking your points for what they're worth. This is, us talking topics here. It's not necessarily trying to win the other person over. It's just giving our viewpoints, seeing what everyone that listens likes and doesn't like, and what they have to say. This might build into another episode of hearing their responses to what we have. But I can't agree with you on this. I can't, especially when it comes to ECW. Not that I didn't like some things from there. I really liked Raven.
Mm-hmm. Raven was good.
Now, admittedly, because I was a WCW guy, first time I saw Raven was when he brought in the Flock and took out DDP.
So you saw
WCW.
Raven Light?
Yes. But going back and watching the Raven stuff, the Cult, the
so you
Sandman,
went back.
yes, I
All
went
right.
back. Raven was great. I really liked Raven. I had always liked Raven, and then after his WWE run, it's just like even in TNA when he was having a faction, it was shit.
It was a retread.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So
It was the WWE NWO.
But anyways, so on to our next topic. I'm skipping around here from the order in which I did things because I've got some that lead into the end. So we had Lynn, good old referee Lynn. Donna. Sorry. He wanted us to talk about the fickle nature of the fans in reference to the massive pop that Roman received on Raw this past week when he said, "Do you want me to tell you what we're going to do?" as opposed to the annoyingly relentless boos he got as a solo act. That is the whole reason that the Shield is back together. They keep wanting the Roman Reigns experiment to work. They realize that the only way the fans like Reigns is if he's with the Shield. At least in their way. I'm sure if he went heel, he might get some more. I'm not taking that option off the table.
Right. Yeah.
But if they're wanting him as Cena 2.0,
He's not that guy.
He's not that guy. But the only way he's going to get the pops that they want him to get is when he's with the Shield. That was the whole reason they got back together. I think they were at a point where with Seth and Dean, they could have interjected them somewhere, decided let's give someone else a chance. So what are we doing with these guys? We'll make them a team. But in knowing so, it's the precursor to Roman needs the push towards Mania season. So how are we going to do it? Shield.
Yeah. I mean, people like the unit. They're not necessarily huge fans of any one guy in particular, especially not Roman.
I think now that's the case. I think when the Shield first debuted, and as the course of things, everyone liked the Shield, as you just said, but everyone had their favorite. I remember talking with Lynn back before Real Shoot. Roman was his guy. He was like, Roman's going to be the big star. And I was like, no, it's Seth. Seth's going to be the big star. And we were back and forth with that for so long. And we were even giving each other shit when Seth finally turned. And so on the page when they got back together, he tagged me and had a picture of them back together and stuff like that. He's like, I guess differences are aside for now, whatever. This time it's Roman. They want Roman. I mean, they were trying to do Roman anyways, and Seth was kind of going to be his antagonist.
Sure, yeah. Which is a good plan.
But this time, it's not about one single member. It is about everyone as a whole.
I'm saying it's the group.
Yeah. But that's not what it always was, I don't feel. I feel like it started that way and turned into something else, and I'm sure this time it's going to in favor of Roman, but let's see how they do it to see if it'll work.
Well, I think it's just basically kind of the same case of you may have some guy on a sports team that everybody hates, but the fans of that team still cheer for that team.
Right. No, I get that. Everybody likes the nostalgia pop, even though it hasn't been that long ago. It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
That's why nostalgia pops aren't that good of a thing.
But I think the overarching story, yeah, like when, he called it out, they were excited, but just because he's the worst player on a good team doesn't mean the team's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call it fickle-natured fans as much as I would call it, and this is me not calling anyone out because I don't like using this term. I really don't, but WWE marks. The people that don't think any other way than what WWE wants you to portray, but yet want to still be the cool, edgy fan. That's why they boo Roman. It's because, everyone else is doing it.
Right.
But then, we want Roman to be cool. Here's the Shield. Oh, yeah, Roman's in the Shield. He's cool now. Like, whereas people who like wrestling as a whole, who were booing Roman because they did not like Roman, are still booing Roman because they don't like Roman. You just don't hear them because...
Yeah, but, I mean, you got the whole point, and I don't think WWE understands now that even if you're not getting the reaction that you want, if you're getting a reaction, you're still doing better because empty chairs don't make noise.
Well, they have a lot of those too.
Yeah, but the chairs that aren't empty are making noise.
The thing is, as soon as the Shield breaks up again, which they will, things are going to go right back to the way they were. I don't see this having any long-term effect on Roman's popularity.
I agree with you. Unless they make Roman be the heel.
I mean, that could change people's minds. It could, but I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they become comfortable with their top guy getting a mix of cheers and boos because Cena's had that for
they're gonna get booed anyway. They're just turn him heel so they think they get the reaction they want.
Yeah, yeah. Early prediction when the Shield breaks up, if it is because of a turn, I'm saying Roman's the one that turns this time. Everyone's gonna think it's gonna be Seth again, because tradition speaks for itself, and they'll write it that way. But then it'll end up being Roman.
Could happen. I don't know.
All right, so. Someone asked for us to talk about the Eric Bischoff Hulk Hogan project that Austin Aries seems to be involved with indie wrestling in Ohio. Have you guys ever? Okay, so this was just like a couple days ago. I'll read to you an article that came up here, or I'll abbreviate what it means. Anyways, Eric Bischoff was announced as Cleveland Knights Championship Wrestling. That's a long name. CKCW. He's their new co-owner and director of operations. He's going to debut for the promotion on February 9th in Parma, Ohio. He had recently he launched his own network called IRW, which stands for Indies Rule the World. So this is coincidental, and it's like, oh, hey, now he's in a promotion. But there were kind of cryptic tweets that were all happening around the same time of Eric doing this from Hogan and Austin Aries. So a lot of people were trying to draw ties to say that they also might be involved with this. I don't know. I think it's too early to say what becomes of this. Mm-hmm. It's definitely interesting. Whether or not you love them or you hate them, and personally, for TNA, I hate them. Outside of that, I'm not so off with Bischoff. Hogan's always going to be around. You're never going to get rid of him, even with all of his controversies. So I can't say I hate Hogan as a person, but I can hate a lot of things that Hogan's done and a lot of decisions that he's made that's fucked a lot of things that I love, especially TNA. This was a rant that happened almost a year ago with Drunk BJ about Dixie Carter and Hogan and Eric Bischoff.
Remember when TNA was good? Like there was a time when it was really, really good.
Well, now
You
it's
remember?
dead.
You remember when they were on TV?
Remember the TV?
Oh, God.
Like I used to look forward to watching that show.
Oh,
it was
I love
real,
it. Oh, my God. The
really
six-side ring, the X Division, AJ
Yeah.
Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Kazarian. Oh, my God. Aries was in it.
He was.
Petey Williams, Sanjay Dutt, like all of those guys. Like, man.
Sanjay Dutt and his six head.
Robert Roode and Team Canada with Eric Young and what was the one guy's name?
Coach Scott DeMore.
Was there like a double A or something like that? His initials were AA or something.
Oh, I remember, but I can't remember who it was.
He was just in and out. Like he kept signing like short-term deals or something. He wasn't there all the time, but he was a member of Team Canada with Scott DeMore. Yeah, but like those. Oh my God, those are great. But
And
he had that one guy from Mexico that was named Shocker or something like that.
I don't remember.
I did.
You know who I do miss though? Monty Brown. God. I really enjoyed him. I thought he had a lot of potential.
What?
Give me that power cord over there.
Why? Why do you want the power
I
cord?
can strangle myself with it from the words that just came out of your
Listen,
mouth.
I really liked him. I liked the pounce.
What?
I did.
Why?
BJ knowing his shit but liking shitty shit.
Oh my God.
I think you just
mean-
gave Alan an aneurysm.
Like, only you could like take a great roster and pick one of the worst people on. It's like, I love that guy.
He wasn't my favorite on the show, but I'm just saying he's not around.
There's a reason.
Yeah, you know what the reason was, right?
He sucked.
His brother or his aunt, or his brother or his sister, one of them, like they passed away while he was in ECW, and didn't have, he had to take care of their kids, and so he quit wrestling to raise and support these children. Like he's not wrestling anymore because of that. Like, while honorable, it kind of sucked because I wanted to see what WWE could have done with him.
The same thing that they do with other.
He's not my favorite person, but I did really enjoy him, and he's not around anymore. That's the point I'm making here. I liked America's Most Wanted.
Oh, I can live with that one.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
But I seriously think you just took some Scott Steiner math with Vince Russo booking with some indie matches that we've watched, do it in a blender and drank that.
Well, this is going to be the same episode that I hate Sabu and Sandman on, and then like Monty Brown.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you I know my shit, but I like some shit. According to you guys.
And some other people.
Yeah, whatever. But anyways, that was off topic, but back to Eric Bischoff and Hogan. Sorry, we've done that a lot. It happens, especially when all three of us are together. I think it's too early to say anything yet. It's just interesting to note that this is happening. Mm-hmm. If Aries does join them, I'm okay with it because I think they really liked Aries anyways because he was option C during the time that Hogan and them were there, and they put the belt on him.
Only good thing they did.
I was getting ready to say that's probably the only good decision that they made because I really enjoyed that. So I'm not upset about Aries being a part of that. I'm
just kind of curious what's going on with him because unless it's his asking price or something, because I would have figured he would have popped back up in Ring of Honor or something by now.
He might be just biding his time.
Actually, I'm pretty sure this weekend or last weekend, I can't remember. It was his first pop back up. He was doing stuff for Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore. He was doing a few dates there. He's got 9 shows for the rest of the year. The only reason I know this is because I just I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and they had him on Talk is Jericho, and he's been doing a lot of vegan stuff. He's got a book that he's been selling, and then now he's coming back to do some shows. And so you still might see him in ROH unless his deal with these guys are exclusive. But he's just slowly getting back into the things. So he got hurt right towards the end too. He had mentioned that when WWE released him, they allowed him. He asked them, and they allowed him during his 90 days of no competing he was still in the Performance Center. They let him use the Performance Center to rehab himself and get himself back good. And that
That's nice.
and that the only reason that they ended is literally they flipped him face because Neville was so good as a heel for the cruiserweight division when it was supposed to kind of be the other way around. They made the call to do that, and they, after that series was over, they just didn't really have anything for him, and they called and told him basically creative doesn't have anything for you right now, and so he was like, all right, and they just ended. He actually wanted to do anything, like even go back to commentary. But he said, you never know what can happen, and nobody left on bad terms, so it's a good thing. He just did business. So,
How awful is their creative, though, that they had someone of that quality, that caliber? And it's like, I have no idea what to do with them.
Yep.
Because they don't know wrestling.
Yeah.
I think I could book some of their shows better on one of these napkins that's sitting on the table over here.
Well, I guarantee you could.
Okay, so we're gonna get into our last three. One of them is very quick. Joseph commented, and I'll read the statement. I'll read everything here. We'll just see what you have to say to all of this, okay?
Okay.
Let's talk about real topics here. Like, for instance, Goldust should be Intercontinental Champion. And
Better than The Miz, I'm okay with that.
and for the fact that Enzo is gold material and people are blind
Fuck no.
to that.
Wrong.
Hurricane is still one of the best of all time.
No, but he is good. I mean, Helms, when he was not being goofy, was actually a good wrestler.
Rusev and Aiden English are gold.
I'm okay with that.
Rusev Day.
Yeah.
Every day is Rusev Day.
They need to repackage him, but yeah, Rusev is good.
And Gangrel deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And then in parentheses, no one killed me. LOL.
I don't think he really did anything to merit that.
If they bring in the Brood at any particular time, which
I mean, yeah, as a unit, that would be fine.
yeah,
but-
or the Ministry as a unit, I could accept that.
Right,
Everybody gets one from there, like
Yeah,
because
but-
the Ministry was pretty cool.
Yeah,
they
but
were
then you
fine.
got guys like Naked Midian and Viscera and
What do you got against Viscera? He's the world's largest love machine.
No.
Or he was the world's largest love machine. He's dead now.
he may have been even more drizzling shits than the Sandman.
Mabel.
You say that like it's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, when you got somebody telling him, hey, my back's hurt, kind of watch my back in this match, and his response is to just, be standing over their back and kick his legs out and do a sit-down splash with his ass with basically his entire body weight landing on their lower back. Yeah, you got some working issues there.
Okay, well, Goldust should be Intercontinental Champion, that statement alone. I think they could make Goldust Intercontinental Champion anytime they wanted, and I'd be
Yeah.
okay with that.
He's underrated. Really,
Yeah.
he can work.
He's one of the longest workers they've had. Him and Kane, Triple H, they're pretty much it. So I'm okay with that. Enzo being gold.
No.
God, no.
Here's what I'm going to say. I don't agree that he should be a champion. Because, seeing him with Drew Gulak this past Monday, I'm just like, get the fuck off my screen. At the same time, his heel work for 205 Live has been doing good things to get some people back into some storylines. Kalisto being the foil isn't really helping, but if they get other people to step up, or they bring back Neville, like I've been hearing that they are going to do, then it could be a decent thing. I'm not talking about his in-ring work. I'm just talking about the appeal that he brings for the brand. It's annoying. I don't like it. I wanted him off my TV, and now I'm to the point where I just enjoy watching Enzo get his ass kicked. So that segment where Braun came out and destroyed him and then let all the cruiserweights go after him. Still one of my favorites of the year, just watching Enzo get the shit kicked out of him. So,
I think he's the equivalent of explosive diarrhea when he had really bad hemorrhoids.
I was watching Rob's face. He was taking a drink, and Omer's just spit that shit. Like, I'm watching. I'm just stopped. You got your composure back, sir?
In the words of Kushida.
Oh boy. Hurricane, I agree. He's good. I don't think he's one of the best of all time, but I think he's had some very memorable moments that kind of rolled out instead of actually syllables. Memorable moments. Memeable. I guess that is technically a word now.
He did have some memeable moments.
Yeah.
If you will.
Sorry. And as we just said, Rusev made in English, it's fine. We already covered Gangrel, so yeah, we've got all that from him. And now we get to the next two, which are leaning towards Survivor Series. So the first one is, what is your favorite champion versus champion match?
At this Survivor Series or just all time?
No, just in general. The reason that it, obviously that it goes towards Survivor Series is because champions are facing champions.
Yeah.
But I kind of had thoughts on should this include equally prestigious titles, or does it include just I'm a champion of this and you're a champion of that? So I don't know. I don't know what their interpretation was. It was Ryan that asked, but if you have both, then go with both.
Well, this is cheating a little bit because it's two guys who have the same belt, so they're integrating. But I enjoyed CM Punk versus John Cena.
That was actually my answer for major, like the same level of a title.
Yeah, like Punk pulled out really good matches out of him.
I agree.
And I don't know. Aside from that,
What's your thoughts there?
Harley Race, Bob Backlund, 1978.
I was going to guess you pulled something from '76. I was this close. I knew it would be something.
Why did you think it was going to be that?
What did I think? I know Rob. I know how he thinks. It's like it's going to be some from the '70s. Like those things are awesome. It's just they very rarely had conclusive winners because they're trying to protect both belts. So that's why I didn't like them as much.
There was another one that I had.
But both those guys are amazing. If you want to tout their greatness, I would reject.
There was another one that I was thinking of, and I cannot remember.
Well, the psychology of that match was just great. They really played it into Backlund using his pedigree of being an amateur wrestling champion and being at the University of Minnesota and all that, and Harley just being the tough badass that he was, and they somehow made it work into a great match. Great psychology in it.
So my second, not equally prestigious titles, different titles, champion versus champion, is from this year. G1, Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. It was the IWGP US champion
I did not think of
versus
that.
the IWGP World Champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was technically titles weren't on the line, but it was still champion versus champion.
Yeah, I was thinking belts had to be on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great one.
And Kenny won, so I mean he finally got his victory. So for me, that's my second favorite.
Kenny had a great match with Suzuki too, who's the never open champion. That had a really good story too, like the way he approached it, from being scared to spitting in his face.
Any thoughts when it comes to titles that aren't?
Nothing's immediately coming to mind. for me.
I'm just glad no one said Goldberg versus Hogan.
Did you really think one of us was going to say that?
I mean, it was probably one of the highest rated TV matches, like ratings wise, but fuck that.
Are you offended he thought we might say that? I am a little bit. Like, I'm going to smack him again.
Again?
You know, according to TJ, that won't get you anywhere.
That's right. That's right. You should listen. You should listen to the Fearless Faith Killer.
Yes, it was a very mature, professional answer, and I'm probably not either of those things.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So let's get to the final question, final topic. What is your favorite Survivor Series matches ever? Like, what are your favorite matches from Survivor Series? I don't know how you want to break this down. I don't know if you want to say, is it the classic 5-on-5, or are you allowed to use any match that was on a
I'm just
Survivor
gonna
Series?
say any matches that were on the tour.
Honestly, I always thought of the 5-on-5 as filler. Like, it has no meaning who wins. It's just a match. Or as Russo would say, it's a couple weeks of TV.
That's not entirely, well, it's not entirely true. Some of them have bigger moments. I have both my favorite singles and my favorite 5-on-5, but let's hear your guys's.
I'm gonna go just from like a technical aspect, probably Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, 92. And then just for one that I enjoyed for whatever reason, I think the whole story that was told and everything was Bret Hart versus Diesel from Survivor Series 95.
I have to go with Bret, Shawn too, but that's all I really got.
Alright, so of course mine are later.
You kids.
One is a little later. Deadly Games, 98, first pay-per-view. It was the whole story arc in general. Obviously, the Mick Foley Rock Screwjob 2 thing is big. But I remember, like, oh God, it was such a pop when The Rock caught Big Boss Man's club when he tried to throw it, and Rock catches it and clubs. Who was it? It wasn't Shamrock that he was working, was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I can't remember who he was working. But I just remember that one moment. But like that match leading into Mick Foley versus The Rock, and then the screw job. I remember in WCW, like, I cheered Hogan for the first time ever when he was going against Goldberg, because I hated Goldberg that much. But I think this was one of my earliest moments again cheering for the bad guy, because when The Rock did it and it was like this big swerve and I was all on board. Like, I was all like, yeah. Like, I remember arguing with my dad. Child me is like, yeah, that's awesome. My dad's like, what is that? He didn't even tap, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it doesn't matter. Rock's a champ. Like, I think that's when my father knew I was going to grow up to be a disappointment.
How true that was. What year did Undertaker debut?
Like 92, I think. 91, something like that.
Maybe 91. So I think I was, So that's when I remember cheering for the bad guy the first time. When Undertaker came out, he was a bad guy.
Yeah, he was under for the $1 Million Man.
There's something in this.
He had Brother Love bring him in.
Not Puff Daddy, but Bruce
Yeah,
Pritchard.
Yeah. Like, he was a bad guy. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm behind that guy, but he's a bad guy, but I like him anyway. And then from there, I like all heels.
As far as Survivor Series matches, like the traditional 5-on-5, I've liked a lot of build-ups to them, where, like how this time we had the Under Siege thing. I enjoyed back when it was like Team Raw versus SmackDown, and they had like Big Show and Kane jump Batista on SmackDown. They were from Raw, and then there was like a parking lot brawl where Batista gave someone a Batista bomb on the hood of a car or some shit like that. Like I enjoy like those kind of things, but and this is more recent. I'm pretty sure it was 2014's Survivor Series match, the 5-on-5, where it was for control of WWE. It was basically if John Cena's team won, then the Authority was no more. That one was really good because
Sadly, I remember that.
It showed off Luke Harper really well. Like, I liked that. Of course, it showed off Dolph really well. He was the sole survivor, and he had to go through 3 people to get there. They had Cena be a crucial point in the match, but got him out early enough to where he wasn't the focal point. Mm-hmm. So it was putting someone else over. As I said, other talents were getting showcased. And then, of course, Sting debuted that night. And Sting, even in not quality of what I look for in a performer now, just because of growing up as a kid, Sting was my favorite. Sting was my guy. Like, started out with Warrior, but Sting was the one that I knew through the formative years, pretty much. So seeing Sting, like, finally come to WWE, it was a big deal for me. So that entire match, like, I loved all of it.
You started with Pro Sting, didn't you?
Huh?
You started with like the
No.
Oh no, really?
Surfer Boy Sting.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
I liked him then. I liked him when he started, like he changed the hair back to brown and like let it grow, but was still colorful and was teaming with Macho and everybody.
All right.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I've always been on board with Sting.
No, Sting's cool. I've never had an issue with him.
I think the only time I questioned being on board with Sting was the Joker thing. But I liked it at first, and then it just got really weird and old and didn't care for it. But that was everything TNA at the time.
Yeah. I don't think that was him.
One of my favorite things, though, was Sting and Vampiro. And that was during a bad time for WCW. They were starting to go downhill, but those matches, I really liked those. Like, I loved, because I really got into Vampiro, too. So it was like, oh,
me
man,
too.
they're both like that. Yeah, I love that. So, yeah, no, Sting has pretty much has been my guy. And so finally getting him to see that, it was also bittersweet on his way out with Rollins in the turnbuckle, because Rollins was my favorite at the time, and Sting is and then watching Sting collapse, like, and I was like, oh no, like what just happened?
He broke him.
Yeah, so yeah.
He actually liked something that didn't suck. What are the odds?
Fuck you guys.
Yeah, but next thing you know, he'll be trying to tell us how good of a worker Lex Luger was or something.
I'm not gonna go that far. I am not gonna go that far. His heel persona in WCW when he had Miss Elizabeth with him. I'm not. No. Listen, I'm not saying it was amazing. I'm saying it was the most I ever recognized Lex Luger. Like Lex Luger. Luger. I keep wanting to say Luther.
That's only because he was playing a douchebag, which just comes natural for him.
And that's what I'm saying.
And BJ saw himself reflected in someone else for the first time.
Yeah.
He's like, it's me. It's on the screen.
Lex Luger's my spirit animal.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. So those were all of your questions.
Just like Rob's spirit animal was actually Joey Ryan.
King of Dong style. God, I can't talk
Actually,
all of a sudden. What happened?
I think I was too tired at work the other day because I just had the random thought that if Rich Swann wasn't in WWE, that needed to team up with Joey Ryan and they could be a team all night dong.
Yes. God, tweet this. Like, oh man, we'll make waves. Please, my God, tag them both.
This needs to happen now.
Yes.
This has to happen.
Oh God!
And I'm
After
sure,
these 205 live
I know,
days are over,
I'm
Rich
sure-
Swann goes back to the Indies. My God, that
I'm
has to
sure
happen.
like they can hire Lionel Richie because he probably needs a paycheck for his daughter's rehab to rework All Night Long as their theme song is All Night Long.
I can hear it.
Yeah, I'm in. All right. So, all right. We're heading into this weekend. We're an hour and a half into this podcast. This is definitely going to be one of our longest ones, but we covered a lot. So, deal with it, enjoy it. I think it's been a good time. That also might be because, I'm here and I'm with you guys, and it's always a good time when we're hanging out. Everyone else might think we're a bunch of fucking idiots. I don't know. But
all those things can be true.
Yeah. But we're heading into this weekend. Let's get into our NXT card for TakeOver War Games or TakeOver Houston, whichever you want to call it. Some good matches, some questionable things that I'm unsure about.
If BJ finds them questionable, they're probably shit.
All right, so Cash Zuno versus Lars Sullivan. Have you guys been watching NXT? I heard you. Have you guys been watching NXT?
I'd say they're probably just going to go with Lars because it's Lars.
They're making him be this monster.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. Obviously, NXT always puts on good shit. Like I can't when it comes to takeovers.
It's usually decent.
It's usually decent to beyond decent.
Yeah, some of it's quite good. I mean, you've had some really good stuff in there.
Yeah.
But they've had some stuff that's,
the most questionable thing I think on the last one was Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano, and that match was great. The ending was blah, but I'm a big advocate pushing for Cien Almas just because I feel like people haven't really given him a chance as this character. It is hard time getting what this character is, but him in general, I like his work.
just
and
let him be La Sombra.
And see, I didn't watch him during La Sombra. I went back, I've checked stuff. I like him as La Sombra too. So if he did that, I would not be opposed to it whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But I think they need to give him a chance regardless either way, more than what they have. So, but anyways, that's later on in the card.
Okay.
Aleister Black versus the Velveteen Dream. I love it. I love everything about it.
You would.
I think they're gonna give the win to Black, but I think this little
The Velveteen Dreams excluded to the ring by Destiny's Child.
I don't understand that.
One of their big songs was "Say My Name."
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's like, was BJ old enough to remember that?
Oh yeah. Kelly Rowland was the best member of Destiny's Child by far.
It disturbs me that you had a favorite. But okay.
Well,
I
you were
had a
busy.
sister
You were busy
growing
listening
up.
to the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, all right. But
Damn it, Joe.
Black's gonna win. I think it's gonna be a great showing for Velveteen Dream, though, and I'm all about watching that character take shape. It's great.
It's a step up for him for sure. But
I'm telling you, if it were the Indies or if something ever happens and Patrick Clark goes to the Indies as the Velveteen Dream, if I don't see a match between him,
and
Joey Ryan, and Dalton, life just doesn't work. Oh my God. All Night Dong versus Dalton and the Velveteen Dream, the Velveteen Peacock.
book it.
Oh my God. We need people with money. That's what we need.
We have ideas. They may not be good ideas, but we have ideas. We just need someone to pay for them. I mean, just by the pure chance, the laws of odds, some of them have to be good.
Right?
It's like Russo.
Blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
Yeah. It's like some of the stuff that Russo did. Some of it was actually good. Most of it was shit, but some of it was good. Pure chance.
Okay, so next up, Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano for the WWE UK Championship. I don't know how I feel. I'm not opposed to the matchup by any means. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think they both.
Well, they're both great.
Great, yeah, really good matches.
I'm a big fan of Pete Dunne, actually.
NXT needs a secondary title. A lot of people have been saying that for a while, that they need like a TV title or something. Yeah, you could make the UK Championship be that, I guess, if you're really wanting to start utilizing these guys instead of getting rid of them, because you're not doing that currently. But okay, so the European title back in the day was won by everybody not European.
Yes.
Well, you have the U.S. title being won by people that aren't from the U.S.
I guess that's true.
And you have intercontinental titles that nobody knows what they actually are.
I mean,
The champion of.
you have the U.S. title in Japan that's being fought over by 2 Canadians in Japan to be the face of America.
I guess that's true. So why do we have titles based off of countries?
I don't know.
I don't
Because
know.
we can't find creative names for other things? I don't know.
I don't know. TJ said something about being the world champion of Fairmont in our interview too. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things.
The world champion of Fairmont.
Yeah.
Well, it's like LT Gray's, the 3-time Galaxy champion of Pittsburgh, Mexico. But who knew that Pittsburgh, Mexico had its own galaxy?
And I mean,
it exists in BJ.
And I mean, and Brock Lesnar's the Universal Champion, and he's never fought an alien.
I don't know. Braun Strowman's kind of not of this world, so it's pretty inhuman for his size and strength.
You've not seen a large redneck before?
Yeah, I mean, you do live in West Virginia.
Not that big.
I've seen some pretty large rednecks. And lived to tell about it.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll give you that. So the next match, Ember Moon versus Kairi Sane versus Nikki Cross versus Peyton Royce. Fatal 4-way match for the vacant NXT Women's Championship.
I'm going with Kairi Sane.
Me too.
I'm not.
No? Think it's too soon?
I think it's too soon. I think she's going to have an amazing showing. I'm not opposed to any of these 4 women with the championship. I'm really not. I've been watching some of Peyton Royce's matches. She would be the least likely out of the 4 for me to be okay with. And the fact that she is, in this match, and I've watched some of her stuff, and I'm okay with her as a champ. Should say stuff for everyone in general, but I really want Ember Moon to get it. But I think the fact that I want her to get it because of her stuff with Asuka is further push that they're going to just make her the protagonist for whatever and not actually award it to her. So maybe we actually get Nikki Cross as a champ.
It could happen. I'm not opposed to that. But she's not a pirate princess, and I like saying pirate princess.
Do you like zombie princesses?
I do like him too. He's awesome.
You like princesses?
Yeah, that could be it. I think the pirate princess and the zombie princess should team up at some
And
point.
Crazy AIs from Destiny.
I don't care that she doesn't have a body. She's hot.
Wow.
Personality matters.
Wow. We're crossing along. You're going to get a new nickname from this show, I'm sure. Anyways, so anybody have any differing opinions? You both said Sane, I said Cross.
Yeah, I mean, I would not like Peyton to win, but among the other 3, I'm fine with.
Okay, then we have Drew McIntyre versus Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT Championship. McIntyre's winning this.
Yeah.
But I
Drew
think...
Galloway. Well, I mean, McIntyre, but...
Yeah.
Pick a name.
But McIntyre's winning.
It's Galloway versus La Sombra.
Yeah.
McIntyre's winning, but I think this is the match that shows off Andrade, and I think he's the next person to come up. He either debuts in the Rumble or he shows up on 205 Live. Does he meet the requirements for 205 Live?
Half the roster does.
I know. But I could see him either.
I don't know. Are they still actually weighing them?
Yeah, they never weighed them.
Yeah, they did.
Did
Yeah, they
really?
did. They
At
did
the
weigh
top-
for the CWC.
For the tournament?
Yeah.
If you
But-
didn't weigh in.
Cedric Alexander had to like drop a lot of weight to get into that tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. So they didn't like kayfabe weigh them. They actually weighed them.
They actually
did
weighed
weigh
them.
them.
They did it live. They did it live on Facebook.
That's stupid. That's probably why I don't remember. I blocked it out.
Okay. Then we have the main event.
You mean the title match wasn't? Oh, yeah, I forgot about War Games.
War Games. The Authors of Pain versus Roderick Strong, which is just a weird pairing to me,
That's extremely weird.
versus Sanity versus the Undisputed Era. I think Undisputed Era with Roderick joining them.
I agree.
They have built up this whole thing as they're trying to get Roddy in, and they're like, oh, but Roddy's not going to join, and everyone, all the pieces have been laid together to make you think that's the exact story, that Roddy's going to be defiant. But why not, for the actual sake of storytelling, be like, oh no, it was effective, he joined.
He needs something to do anyway.
He does.
He's just been drifting in the next
His story with Bobby Roode was okay, and I understood like some of the background they were trying to use with him. Like they were stretching to like give him, and it was working, but then it was a crutch. It was so fast of a background into who he was and what he was fighting for, to that it became a crutch, and it only worked with Bobby Roode. Now it doesn't work with anybody else, and Bobby's not there, so make him join the Undisputed Era. Let those guys run the place for a little bit.
Maybe assign him a personality. That would be nice.
Yeah. He was pretty good in the decade. What happened to him, like personality-wise, between there and here?
He went back to being white bread.
Huh?
He went back to being white bread.
Yeah.
I was never. I mean, Rob. I think you're a fan, but I was never really into him. Rob's like, I'm just going to sit here. I'm not saying anything. I'm not going to incriminate myself.
No, he's not.
It's like I'm not going to be like you with that computer.
What?
Fail safe.
Oh,
computer.
God. Here we go.
Yeah, you were probably doing something in the USB ports or something.
Oh, God. All right. Let's get away. Let's please get away from that.
I'll integrate with her hard drive anytime.
All right. Oh, God. Damn it. Here I thought I was gonna get away without having to really edit this podcast.
Well, that's a different.
I'm just sitting
That's a different kind of computer virus there.
Oh, God.
Don't worry, I have an
All right. Let's move on.
All right.
This is why you don't allow me on the show.
Survivor Series is this Sunday. Obviously. That's what we were talking about, like peppering in throughout the show. So here's your card, here's your matches. Let's get our predictions in. Enzo Amore versus Kalisto for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Anybody but Enzo.
Enzo probably.
Sorry if you heard that. That was the voice of God calling out random numbers.
Heaven bingo.
I'm going to say it's going to be Enzo if Neville is indeed returning.
Yeah.
All right.
That poor belt. I mean, it meant something, kind of. Not really, but then they give it to Enzo, and it's just throw it in the trash, burn it, it's done.
Piss on it with lighter fluid.
Yeah.
Intercontinental Champion The Miz
Give it to Paige.
with The Miz Taraj versus United States Champion Baron Corbin.
The Miz.
The Miz versus Baron Corbin. IC title versus US title.
I don't like either one of them. I hope they find a way for both of them to lose. They'll probably miss.
I think Alan's about to deep six himself to a table.
I think so too.
We hit the main roster and it's like a dumpster fire.
I'm going with Baron Corbin.
Outside of a liposuction clinic.
I'm going with Baron Corbin.
Okay.
Not only because I do like the end of days finisher, but he has really awesome theme music now. That shouldn't base your opinion at all, but damn. Every time, every episode of SmackDown that he comes out, I have to make a tweet about how awesome his theme song is.
I know, I've seen it.
I may or may not have it also set as my alarm to wake up in the morning. It's great. It's a great theme.
It's not that great.
It's great.
It's okay.
It's good. It's really good.
I like Corbin. He's okay.
All right. Anyways, Raw Tag Team Champions Cesaro, the Bar, versus the Usos.
Cesaro.
Yeah.
I'm going Usos.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they've been amazing as a team. They really revitalized themselves, and unless I think it's Jay that got hurt last week, unless he's legitimately hurt, they win. If he's legitimately hurt, then the Bar wins. Because you kind of can't have a guy who's only like half able to work.
I don't even think he's half able to walk right now.
He did. He walked fine on SmackDown. He seemed all right.
Dude, they had Ellsworth on there. They don't need people who can work.
But
they don't care.
All right. Also, R.I.P. Ellsworth. He's gone.
Good riddance. If he were dead, I would piss on his grave.
Jesus. We're getting into the savagery part of that one for this one. Anyways, Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss versus SmackDown's Women's Champion. God, I can't talk. Charlotte Flair, as she beat Natalya last night.
I think Charlotte will win.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss.
You think so?
Yep. Merry Blissmas. Guess I said that with a straight face.
I don't see how. Yeah. I enjoy Alexa. She has a nice ass.
Well, damn. I mean, you're stating truth, so I'm not saying that
you like Baron because of his theme song. I can like Alexa for whatever reason I want.
I think she's been great, character-wise in general. Not to mention what you said, but yes.
He's taken now. He can't talk about it.
Oh, that has no effect on it. I can compliment, but okay. So sidebar. I don't enjoy when people, not that I can't say that someone's attractive or whatever, but I don't like when people on both sides of the spectrum are fans of someone for their looks. When wins women over, John Cena or Roman Reigns or Randy Orton, or men just based off of someone's look. Looks are a great plus, I get it, but work rate is also a big important thing, and if we're going to treat everything equal now, then treat it equal. And I'm not saying anything against your comment, I'm just saying in general, that's why I was avoiding that, because I even see it a lot, especially on Twitter, of so many people being enamored with men's looks, like so many women enamored with the men's looks, and I'm like, that's a terrible reason to justify why you...
Right, it should be theme songs, because that's important. I was just joking anyway.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about work rate, Alexa's not a great worker. She's okay.
She's not, but she's jumped leaps and bounds over some people.
Well, sure, because half the women's roster doesn't know how to wrestle at all.
Until the Mae Young Classic women come in, then that'll change.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they all know how to work, but I don't know how many are come in. But, I was just joking about it.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just, as I said, sidebar, why you accused me of avoiding that was for the wrong reason. But, okay. Anyways, the Shield versus the New Day.
Shield.
It's going to be the Shield. But the New Day deserve it more.
Really?
Yeah. 4-time WWE.
I'm just kind of bored with them.
4-time WWE Tag Team Champions.
That's really annoying.
If I was standing, you would have saw some inappropriate gestures.
Do it.
Big E style.
Do it. Actually, don't do it. I want to see it. We're all
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
Showing something. What?
But
So, yeah,
Sure.
it'll be the Shield, but I think the New Day deserve it.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Then we get the women's traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series interbrand elimination match, which is Team Raw, Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Asuka, Sasha Banks, and Bayley versus Team SmackDown, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Naomi, Tamina, and a TBA, which people were going to assume is Natalya, but now that they're leaving it as TBA, I think Paige is showing up for Team SmackDown.
Probably.
I don't know. She
Spoiler.
earned herself some more heat.
Supposedly.
When you do air quotations, the people on the audio can't hear you. Do that.
I inflect tone,
That's it.
so
I'm doing air quotations around the mic right now. Can you feel
You
it?
probably screwed up our sound quality too.
Team SmackDown's winning thanks to a returning Paige.
Could be, but that would mean that Asuka would actually have to lose.
Or just
No.
get counted out or something.
Could be kind of.
Or
Yep.
just DQ'd or something
Anything.
that doesn't actually make her look weak.
The men's traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. Kurt, Braun, Finn, Joe, Triple H versus Shane, Orton, Rude, Nakamura, and Cena.
Jason Jordan cost Team Raw.
Ooh.
Owens and Zayn cost Team SmackDown.
Ooh.
They both get cost the match somehow.
Oh no, I was thinking
nobody
about,
wins.
No, I was thinking
They
about
all
this the
lose.
other day. Like, if you want to make this match absolute chaos, you can. You can have Kane come out against Strowman. You can have, Finn and Joe start getting into it. You can have Rusev with Orton.
Yeah.
You can have Kevin and Sammy with Shane. You can have Jason Jordan. There are all kinds. You could literally put all of them and make this match just even more insane. At the same time, we could end up with matchups of seeing Triple H in the ring against Nakamura. And that's just bizarre to me, to think of that.
You probably knock a couple inches off of Triple H's nose.
Kid Sasha, after the distraction by Jason Jordan, after the distraction of Kane setting off the pyros and almost burning Braun Strowman's hair.
His beard catches on fire.
That's how he's eliminated. He's running to the back.
But he falls in the garbage truck and starts a garbage truck fire.
It becomes a literal dumpster fire.
Oh, man. All right. But yeah, this match is the most chaotic one, and I really don't know who's going to win.
It could go either way, really.
If I had to make a call, I'm gonna say Raw. I'm Team Blue. I'm Team Blue through and through.
And Kurt Angle also gets distracted by the cops by Jason Jordan serving in papers that he wants to be an emancipated minor after Monday.
God. I'm Team. Damn it. I'm Team Blue through and through, but I think Owens and Zayn cost SmackDown, which furthers the Shane storyline. But also we have this little side Daniel Bryan Shane storyline happening right now, where Daniel's not happy that Shane didn't consult with him about things. So maybe we get a heel Bryan out of all this.
No, the lights will go off and he'll trip over a table again or something.
Oh my god. And then finally, the main event, what I'm assuming should be the main event, but probably won't be. It'll probably be the Survivor Series match. Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus the WWE Champion, the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Lesnar's going to win, and it really ticks me off. You don't think so?
AJ slays the beast. It doesn't matter. It's not for a title.
It
AJ
does.
wins.
Brock hasn't won a Survivor Series ever, I don't think.
AJ wins.
We'll see.
And, they supposedly made this match because it was supposed to be a money match, which is something I don't think exists in WWE now anyway.
No.
So, but I think something happens and Brock loses, whether it's he gets distracted or something. Like Braun comes back out with the flaming garbage truck and distracts him or something.
Oh my God.
I'm not finished with you yet.
I seriously just love that. I love that storyline can exist forever. We can go back to it 3
Because
years later.
he's not finished.
Roman's in the ring, and just out of nowhere, here comes Strowman with a mic. It just says, "I'm not finished with you yet," and throws it down, and we're right back to where we were 3 years ago.
He's the perfect monster because
You don't need any other background as to why he's out there. It's just like, oh, he's been distracted for a while. Now he's back. Like I love that. I love that the way that ended. It's so open ended. Like you could have it years down the road. Roman's done and retired, and he comes back for one night only. And there's Strowman. I'm not done with you yet. And you're like, shit.
That'll be them in the nursing home after Bingo goes bad or something.
I love the idea.
Pulling
That
out the
story.
walker.
It's so simple.
I'm not
It's-
finished with you yet.
It's so fucking simple, and yet it works on every level. Like, Roman just wins the WWE title. The next night on Raw, he's talking, "I'm not done with you yet." Strowman lays him out. It's like, well, what the fuck? What have you been doing the last 6 months? Doesn't matter. Still never finished this chapter, apparently. So, yeah.
Wow. This conversation went to my head. I got brain damage from listening to that.
But anyways, I say AJ wins.
I hope AJ wins.
I think Vince knows what he has with AJ.
I don't think he does. Not really.
I think he does. I think one of the biggest pushers of AJ Styles in the WWE is Vince and not Triple H, not anybody else. I think it's Vince. I think Vince loves AJ. From everything I've read, from everything I hear, from everything, listening to podcasts, watching interviews, hearing AJ himself, I think it's Vince. Vince sees him as this Gen Shawn Michaels and knows that he could rely on him for absolutely anything he wanted, and AJ will make it happen and make it be amazing or phenomenal, if you will. And so
If you will.
And so yeah, I think Vince is the big pusher of AJ, and even if AJ doesn't win, I mean, this match is not going to hurt either person. It's really not. It is just a showcase to say that it actually happened. But I'm going to say that AJ wins it. So, I think that's it. Boys.
Okay.
We probably got 2 hours of us being idiots.
We've got 2 hours and going on 3 minutes of us just fucking talking about everything. I do love that a good first 20-something minutes has been RSPW, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how big of a douchebag I am, apparently.
We could talk for hours about how big
Yeah.
a douchebag you are.
We
Yeah.
almost did.
It would probably take you 3 days to load up that audio after we got done.
I don't know, guys. You're all assholes.
In the words of Kushida.
So many people don't know what that means.
They'll figure it
Watch
out one
Global
day.
Wars.
Yeah.
Watch Global Wars.
Actually, anything lately, he's been so foul-mouthed. It's great.
But
yeah, that's kind of an inside joke with us. I don't think anyone else knows it.
nah, but
They'll
it's-
figure it out
It's
eventually.
an IWS inside joke.
So-
Get down with the society, bro.
That was so douchey.
Don't care. I told you you merely adapted the douchebag.
I mean,
I was born in it, raised by it.
I'm just wondering if we get. So you're calling your parents douchebags?
I didn't say that. I told you. Deadly Games '98. My dad realized I was not what he had envisioned. You just kind of dropped it there.
I lost my train of thought because there was something else I was going to say. And I can't remember.
Is there
what I was
anything
saying.
regarding to this podcast at this moment?
No, I think we're good, probably.
All right. So, in the words of Kushida, or more or less Jim Cornette, thank you, fuck you, bye. Hope you all have enjoyed this one, and if you haven't,
Keep listening.
keep listening.
Eventually, we'll get good at it.
Yeah. We're only 29 episodes in.
But only 3 of them have involved this group.
Yeah, that's right. So just listen to the last 3. And if you still don't like us, well, eat a dick. Bye.